welcome to another edition of Kyle Meredith with. It's the interview series presented by WFPK and WFPK.org, Consequence, and the Consequence Podcast Network. Thanks as always for making your way here. Checking out the series. You know what to do by this point. Hit that subscribe button if you like what you see, what you hear. I do 3 new interviews every single week, so it's a great way to keep up with your favorite artists. I'm so excited today to have Christina Perri on the line. Hello.
Hello.
You are back with a brand new single.
Yes.
An absolutely beautiful new single.
Oh, thank you.
That I know doesn't come from the most beautiful, happiest of places, but what you've done here, and we're talking about this song called Evergone. Hope you don't mind just me starting with the broad question, but what was the journey to this song?
Sure. It's actually interesting and unique for me as far as other singles and other songs that I've put out in the world. I was actually finished my 3rd album. I recorded it during the pandemic, and I didn't have Evergone yet. And I was pregnant while I was recording my whole album. I actually flew my producer, Jen DeSilvio, to New Jersey, where I was living. She lived in my garage. We made the whole album, very safely, quarantined in a little bubble. It was an experience. But at the time, I was pregnant. And so that I ended up losing my daughter. So after we'd finished the album, and then before we had written Evergone, and I remember thinking I was in so much grief, maybe I don't even put out this album. I really just didn't see what the future was going to be. When you're grieving that hard, I feel like that's the one thing you can't picture is the future. And they do say that when you start to envision a future self, that you're really coming, into a healing place. And so for me, I remember, I didn't even think about the album for a while. And then my A&R guy at Atlantic Records, Pete Gambarg, who's been my A&R guy for 11 years, he came to me with a piece of this song. And he was like, I heard this, and he's never done that my whole career. So I've never kind of brought in a piece from, a writer I didn't know. Normally I create a song in the moment, in the room, every single time. So he came to me very delicately, as only he could. And he was like, I heard, this piece of this song, and I feel something, and I had to send it to you. He's like, I've never done this before, but I'm just sending this to you because it meant something to me. And it's could be something if you finish it, if you work on it, if you're inspired to. And I was like, you know what? I totally am. I realized in that moment that I couldn't move forward with my album if I didn't include this experience. And it needed to be the first thing I sing about. Do you know what I mean? To feel authentic. I couldn't just skip over it, obviously. And also it made me feel okay if I bring everyone along with me with the healing and everything. It felt like, oh, I can do this. I can heal and work at the same time if I'm honoring my daughter, Rosie. So honestly, I took the piece from Pete, and I took it to Jen DeSilvio, my executive producer on the whole album, and her and I finished writing the song. And that's how Evergone was born. Honestly, that was like I said, the first time I've ever done that, but it was so meant to be, I think, because it was the thing that brought me to a place where I felt ready. And then also it felt appropriate and exactly how I wanted to come back, which is hey, let's sing about the hardest stuff you could possibly think of. That's my lane. It's are we crying? Okay, I'm doing this right, So Evergone really has, it has a unique story, but it really came from a place of, helping me. It helped me get through my grief in the sense where I was now ready again to write and sing and perform, and also feel like I'm, bringing everyone along in the truth.
Yeah. And you've talked about normalizing in the past few months, in the past year as well, especially coming off of the Lullabies record that you just put out, which I think was some of the most important things that you could say, normalizing grief, normalizing loss, talking about mental health. When you've got a song that becomes this personal, to put that out there, what was the process there of then saying, okay, this is out there and this is going to be the conversation at this point?
It's interesting. I thought before it all started happening, that it would be difficult to get to a place to be ready to do that. But what I found being here now, it's actually easier to talk about it than to not talk about it.
Mhm.
So I remember there was a moment where I said to my team, no one pressured me. No one was like, hurry up, let's go. Everyone's just checking in all the time. And I said, I'm going to feel like I'm ready when it feels okay to talk about it and okay not to talk about it. Because there was just this very weird limbo land I was living in for a while where, it's such a heavy, sad experience that some people don't even look me in the eye. You know what I mean? Like, this is like, and so I'd be like, okay, I'm not ready, because if that makes me feel like, oh gosh, like I'm not, but like all of a sudden it was like, no, I'm totally ready. I've processed this. I've worked through it. I've done so much inner work and work with my family and all these things. And I feel okay. I genuinely feel okay enough to now open up about it. And it actually feels more natural than I ever thought it would. Like, I thought I was going to have to like prepare myself before every interview, or, think about what I should say, or like try not to be super affected, or, who knows, like just protecting myself. And it turns out that time I talk about it, it's more and more healing. It's more of the, like, the medicine that I need to keep moving forward with my life. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And I want to compliment you too, just again, how beautifully it's laid out, and not just your music's beautiful and your vocals are always gorgeous, but even the lyrics. I mean, there is a part here where I think when you said, I learned to live with a heartache, like there is so much packed into a line like that.
Yeah.
And to get really specific, into the songwriting here, I mean, when you were writing, did you think about how you wanted to tell this story, how you wanted to put the message out there within the actual words?
Yes. It's interesting. I didn't think too much like, okay, I didn't have to think about other people's experience, because I realized that by having my own experience and by being as honest and vulnerable as I can with mine, that I would actually be the most relatable to others, right? So if I just like kept it simple and just said exactly how it felt. Like, I remember writing the line about like, I heard someone say your name today, like when we lose someone that we love, and like their name forever just hits different. We just like feel it every day. Like, you know what I mean? And I never realized how powerful that would be when I named my daughter Rosie. I didn't realize how often people say Rose, you know what I mean? And then I also realized how beautiful that is. Like, to me, it doesn't hurt when I hear it. It just like feels, it's oddly comforting. And so like, that's a thing I never heard about in a song. Do you know what I mean? I was like, so I wasn't trying to be unique. I just was like, so in it. I was so in that moment when we were writing it. I was still grieving. I was still in the pain, which honestly is the best fucking part about songwriting. Like, that's it. Like, when you're in it, it doesn't matter. If you've already healed from it, it's probably not, going to be as deep as it could be, because when it still hurts, like that's the sweet spot, And so it really was still, I was still figuring it out. And so while we were writing it, I remember, it was like, it was really hard, honestly. And every line hurt, and I was like, oh, okay, that's the one, it's gotta just like, it's gotta, you gotta feel it, because honestly, I think to myself sometimes, because I have a 4-year-old, and I love being a mom, and like, it was an interesting choice for me to come do another album. I mean, I toured the whole world. I did everything I ever wanted to do. I had the most fun decade ever. And then I wanted to make a family and focus on family for a while. And then it's so interesting that while I was doing that, I started writing about becoming a mother, and writing about, going through loss, and writing about the things and marriage and how weird it is. Like, all this stuff, like, I thought like, oh, I'm going to do family now because like, I have to choose. And then it's like, oh shit, I'm a songwriter. I'm going to write about all the stuff I'm going through anyway. So it ended up feeling like I really needed to put this music out. I like really, and I've been working on it for years, like truly. And so it feels really satisfying to finally be giving it to people. But also it feels really good that like I said, I'm not skipping anything. I'm just like, this is all the shit that happened. This is like, again, it's healing me, and I hope it reaches others and it helps others and stuff. That's the cool part about my job. But it really is, it's what's helping me get through my life.
And as I understand the other side, you have the songwriting, but you also have the music you're listening to, and how we lean into certain sounds at certain times of our life. How important was Taylor Swift at this moment for you?
Oh, dude. Honestly, it's so funny you say that. I could only listen to her when I was in my deepest, saddest season. It's almost like I feel so selfish that like she did those records for me. Like, because I love Taylor Swift, but it was never like she was never my go-to listen to all the time, every day. Mm-hmm. And then when she put out Folklore, I was like it was like, I really felt like it was for me. I'm not going to lie. Like, I need to meet her and thank her for that, because I feel like she was like, somehow knew I needed that. And I sat and I did Legos. I'm not going to lie. I sat and put together a bunch of Legos and listened to her music over and over and over again while I was healing. And yeah, I'm going to say that's got a big influence. But at the same time, like, I've always been melancholy and dark, mm-hmm. and, and like, so it inspired me to keep going down the lane I've always loved, and it also made me feel like I don't need to make happy music for people. Mm-hmm. Like, I've always felt like, oh, my music's a little too blue. Like, let me throw in a joyful one for everyone, and then like, I kind of don't feel like I need to do that anymore. She gave permission almost for, a nice melancholy album, which is my favorite. So yeah,
those two albums are incredible. Just both of them. Like, it's the same thing. We just wore them out, over those seasons over here. They're
perfect. They're just perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. And on that sort of subject, leaning into the songs you like, by the way, I would like to thank you for turning me onto something, because I was looking at your Women's Day playlist that you did recently.
Oh, yeah.
And Cleo Soul, I had not heard. And that, and to have an album called Mother right now as we're talking about this, I don't know if that was part of you leaning into it too, but that's, and in Julian Baker, Phoebe Bridgers, Yeba, Brandy Carlisle, Casey Musgraves, Sarah McLachlan. I'm telling this on the camera so everybody else goes and checks out this playlist.
Yeah. It's really good, right? I was pretty impressed with myself, because now I've been listening to it. Everyone wanted me to make the playlist, and then I crushed it. I love all these girls. I like really am not sick of it yet. I keep playing it in the car. Sorry.
It's okay.
Did I lose you? Okay.
Nope.
Cool. Anyway, yes, the Cleo Soul album, my friend Ian Fitchick posted about it. That's how I found her. But like, how appropriate in my life, like that whole album, by the way, like, I picked my favorite song, but that whole album is worth listening to in its entirety. And it's just gorgeous.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Thanks. Cause now that's probably going to be the playlist around here for a while. So it's, I appreciate it. My wife appreciates it. We both thank you. It's, so here you're working on the music, and you talked about this. The last record before this, I think, was 2014. And you say you've been working on this for obviously years now. I think the first time you started talking about the new record was in 2016. Yeah. I know how things change, how things have obviously changed over the years, but for the journey of the new music, like, where did you want to take it musically? Was it that thought out? Again, knowing that you've got your hallmarks that we've already been talking about.
Sure. It's interesting. I'm not sure exactly the date. I want to say it was in 2019 when I wrote a song with Luke Sital Singh, who's an artist. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because I was just like his biggest fan, and then somehow became his friend because he moved to LA. And then he was like, do you want to write a song? And I was like, selfishly, yes. I just want to sit and listen to you sing all day. Like, I don't think he knew how big a fan I was. And like, I was so nervous I was going to like show up and just like be so awkward and weird. And he's so British and like the opposite of my energy. And so I was like, this is either going to be the worst song or like, who knows, maybe wonderful. And what ended up happening, I don't want to give it away because I have yet to reveal all the names and things, but the song that he and I wrote became the sort of the title track of the whole album and the theme of the whole album. And sonically, I figured it out. So it took me from 2016, I probably wrote 30, 40 songs over that time. I also was pregnant with Carmela. I had Carmela, like I was taking my time, but it wasn't until 2019 when I started another season of writing that I wrote with Luke. And then I was like, oh, this is it. So around that time is when I figured it out. And truly it was like melancholy and kind of vibey. And it just kind of came to me. And then I realized what it was I was going to make. And I know everybody's different how they put together their art, but like I kind of wanted a title and a what's the word I'm looking for? A destination. Do you know what I mean? I wanted like, okay, this is what it's going to be. And then it helped me pick the songs that fit because I'd written so many. So then I was like, oh, this song was cool that I wrote in 2015, but it doesn't work with the theme. Do you know what I mean? So it really kind of set me on the path. And then from 2019 to 2020, when we recorded it, you know, I knew exactly what I was making. So I'm really excited to like let everyone see the rest of the puzzle because it's like, you know, it's a theme.
Yeah. And I should point out too, not just the lullaby records, the 2 lullaby records that came out over the past couple of years, and this beautiful song Evergone, but let's not forget that you did a version of Kiss the Girl from the Little Mermaid online as well. Yeah. Which is one of the greatest all-time Disney tracks right there. And I know being a mom, maybe like for me, I'm a dad, but mine's 14 now. My son is 14. But I remember the time where I had a good excuse to relive all the classics again, you know.
Like, you know what's funny? I've been deemed a Disney adult, apparently. There's a term for me now, like on TikTok. And I've never been more proud. I mean, I do listen to Disney hits on Sirius XM, like when I'm driving in the car, and I'm just like, that's actually why I made the cover of Kiss the Girl, because I heard it and I was like, oh, I'm like, this would be really cool, like just broken down, and you know, like I just had the thought like I should learn that, and but yeah, that's like the truth is that I'm in the car, I'm either listening to like my really cool women, you know, playlist or Disney music. That's me in a nutshell.
I'll wrap up with this. I also saw the video online. I should throw the congratulations, 1 billion streams of 1,000 years, well, of everything. But, you know, I know 1,000 years has been getting its own mileage out of that. And
unreal.
I mean, 1 billion, that's crazy.
I know. I can't wrap my head around it. I really can't.
There's an adorable video everybody should check out, you and your daughter. And hopefully you didn't eat off of the plate, use the plaque as a plate, but maybe.
She's so smart. She's like, oh, cool, a plate. Like, you know.
I did hang streams, you get a plate.
I hung it up on the wall, so she knows now that it's not actually a plate.
Yeah. The obvious question here, I know you are actually a big Twilight fan, or have been in the past. My wife is a huge, it's like soul food around here. You know, it's either going to be Harry Potter or a Twilight if it's just a rainy day for her.
Love her.
If Midnight Sun ever becomes a thing, are you in on this?
I mean, you know, of course. Like, you know, I like bleed the Twihards. Like I am their person. I am their representative.
I heard there's going to be a lot more. I mean, we got Midnight Sun, but I guess that's what's maybe is going to be the anthology sort of series from now on.
Sure. I love it all. Honestly, and I'm so grateful for it. It was such a vehicle for me and like changed my life completely that I will be grateful for it forever. And also I will never pretend that I'm cooler than I am. And always remember I had the 4 book covers framed on my wall. Yeah.
You know, I can't even say anything about that because this is all the posters from my high school wall that I just resurrected one day to fill out a basement. So I get it.
Gotta be you know, you gotta stay true.
I get it. I love the new single, Evergone. It's so gorgeous. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk about this today. This has been great.
Thank you so much. And send my love to your wife.
Absolutely will do.